who wants to tell speakers about the...
Hello everybody! Good morning, thank you for coming. It's amazing turnout. Welcome to the 7th Legal Rights demonstration. I've got a very exciting job of reading out some kind of security and safety things before we start. So, a few housekeeping things. The information point is located over here next to the big flag. If you need any help, you can head over there. There's also lots of information, leaflets and things like that. That's also where the missing person point is. If you get lost, if you can't find someone, go over to the big flag, ask for help. Just to remind you that parents and carers are responsible for their children at all times. There will be lots of people taking photos and videos today. Please can we ask everybody to be mindful that there may be some young people here who cannot have their image shared for safeguarding reasons. If this applies to you or your young person, please visit the information point and collect a no photo sticker. And we ask that everybody respects this. We have 2 BSL interpreters. And we also have spectrum space over by the information point where people can go for a quieter space and a sensory area. If you need any assistance during the rally, please speak to one of our stewards who are wearing high-vis jackets. So we have the people in yellow who can give you information about where to find things, where to find toilets, where to find information points if you forget or anybody arrives late. Okay. We also have the stewards in red who you can contact in case of emergency or for first aid, and you can go to the information point for help with first aid. For everyone's safety today, please follow steward instructions at all times and remain aware of your surroundings. If you require medical assistance, please alert the nearest steward who will contact our first aid team. Please don't leave bags or packages unattended. If you see anything suspicious, unsafe or concerning, please report it immediately to a steward or police officer. In the event of an emergency or serious safety incident, please remain calm, move away from danger, listen carefully to announcements and follow directions from stewards and emergency services. Please help children and vulnerable people remain with their groups where possible. Please keep walkways and access routes clear, and if there are any counter-protests or disruptions today, we ask everyone not to engage and to alert a steward. Please take care when moving around the square and crossing nearby roads, as traffic will continue around the area. Thank you for all being here and for standing together to protect the rights of children and young people with And I'm now going to hand you over to Renata, my Special Needs Jungle, to introduce the event properly.
Thanks Jill, and hello everyone. So nice to see so many people coming out. We really appreciate the effort you've put in to being here today, and solidarity goes out to all the people who can't be here because of their caring duties. We know that they're here with us in spirit and are watching along on the live stream. And we also send out good wishes to all the other groups that are gathering all around the country. Yeah. We're here because our children's legal rights are under threat. The right to an education, health and care plan, the legal guarantee of support, is at risk of being taken away from our children. The right to support that is written in law and enforceable is being replaced with plans that may not be enforceable at all. The right to an assessment, the right to provision based on a child's individual needs, the right to choose a school, the right to appeal when things go wrong, all of these are being weakened. That's why the Save Our Children Right campaign exists. Because without those legal rights, families are left with nothing but promises. And promises don't get children an education. We know how tired you all are, that it feels like we are fighting and failing, like nothing changes, like no one is listening. But this is what it feels like when you're inside a moment that matters. We look back at people who changed things, who fought for the rights that we enjoy today, and tell their stories like their winning was inevitable. But it wasn't. It felt like this. They didn't know they would win, but they kept going anyway. So keep on going, people. Keep on making history, so our children will look back at this moment believing we always knew we would win. That's enough from me. It's my very, very great honour to introduce Carrie Grant, MBE, to the stage. Carrie is a broadcaster, a vocal coach and also a SEND mum who has been a powerful advocate for parents navigating the system. Please give a round of applause for Carrie.
Thank you, Renata. It's just so wonderful to be here. I just want to take a moment, just a few seconds, to just look around you and know these are our people. When you are that parent and you feel like you are totally alone and like no one is there, understanding this is your 10th email today, that these people are doing exactly the same thing that you are doing right now. These are the people that really get it, and it's so great to be among people who get it. I am an autistic mum with four amazing neurodivergent children who are also multi-intersectional. They are mixed race children, they are trans children, I have an adopted child. There's a lot going on in our house and they are all amazing. But I want to just tell you a little bit about what we're facing in terms of this white paper from a parent's point of view. So let's talk about early intervention. When you first see the hints that your child is different, you imagine a world where people talk, people share best practice and reach out to help one another. You imagine that schools contain those experts that will know exactly what to do. Sadly, the large majority of our professional workforce don't get the proper training. This is not to throw shade, it's a statement of fact. I would defend those incredible professionals that we meet and treasure along the way. But it's rarely ever explained to teaching staff how things work for our children. We know how things work, but that doesn't always get passed down. So the current education workforce has a shortfall in professionals working within the sector and challenges surrounding the retention of teachers. That's already. So in a workforce already at breaking point, there are further concerns that the proposed SEND reforms will continue to increase the demands and pressures upon that workforce. In the early stages, we parents and carers are also learning, aren't we? We long to sit at the feet of experts. In our schools is where we expect to find them. But just 39% of primary school teachers have had more than half a day's training in autism. And only 14% of secondary school teachers have received any autism training at all. In this same workforce, who are now being expected to write targeted plus and specialist plans, these are the people that are expected to write those plans. These are the same people who will somehow find another few magic hours to meaningfully collaborate with us as parents. And let me tell you now, it's not going to happen because we know it's already a struggle now. And so the story begins for our family, the story of trauma, the story of disconnection, the story of isolation, because the can gets kicked down the road. It's all written big, it's not that long. Secondly, let's move on to mental health. You imagine accessing mental health services in the same way that you access other health services. You imagine that needs will be met in an appropriate and timely fashion. The right help at the right time, isn't that the phrase that they use? But the reality is that your child has to disappear before help comes. And even then, there are the thresholds, that lovely word that we really hate. We are told your child does not meet the threshold. Thresholds that are literally measured by increasing failure. This is the logic of our system. You don't appear to be disabled enough. So we wait for failure to come knocking at our child's door. When they fail enough, they might just, maybe, get help. As of early 2026, over 550,000 children and young people in England are on an NHS mental health waiting list. 53% have been waiting for over 1 year and 30% have been waiting for over 2 years. What is happening to these children? 5 years exactly. The White Paper plans to scrap EHCPs and only provide them to children with complex cases. The White Paper does not provide a clear definition or criteria to identify who the children with the most complex needs are. I ask again, how bad does it need to get for our children in order that they get help? My child, let's call this one child number 1, autistic, under the radar, hits the marks academically, stands alone in the playground, melts down at home, withdraws, gets depressed, self-harms, ends up on suicide watch for 3 years. For my child, no one saw it, not one teacher in school. It took about 7 years for the decline to require hospital stays. Even with a diagnosis of autism, I was told, Mrs. Grant, they aren't autistic. The gaslighting starts early for us, right? The White Paper pushes for our children to stay in mainstream. They call it mainstream inclusion. Our children are expected to stay in a system where there is an ideology of normal. Let me repeat that. The ideology of normal reigns in these schools. So they have to stay in this place where they don't fit, where our children are unseen and unheard. Tell that to the bullies. Our children are fodder. And so the story continues, the story of trauma, of disconnection and isolation. And the can gets kicked down the road. Thirdly, let's talk about specialist placements. Child number 2, let's call them. Happy, obviously autistic, manages primary and mainstream, but at the age of 11 needs a specialist placement. But there aren't any in our area. So there is no school. The trauma sends our child retreating into their bedroom, unable to engage. I know that I have the privilege of telling this story up here, and because I know there is enough people standing there right now who've got children in exactly this position. I run a parent support group for over 300 families, and I hear this story every single time we meet. 3 years for this child out of school. There is no school, we're told. 3 years of us parents becoming teachers or becoming our child's entire social circle, being their therapist, and somehow still continuing to be a parent. Finally, a school came. And with this change, our child began to change big time. But the question still hangs, will they ever get those years, age 11 to 14, back? There is so much trauma as they go into their adult years. I quote, the White Paper says, local authorities must provide a list of settings that can deliver the appropriate specialist provision package. When a family is choosing a school place for a child with an EHC plan, parents will retain the right to request an alternative setting, but now local authorities can turn this down based on cost. Under the proposals, the tribunal will no longer have the power to name the school. The tribunal that we rely on and win most of the cases in will no longer be able to act to help the child into an appropriate school. The tribunal will only be able to request the local authority to reassess. Delays, delays, delays. Our children are dying in the waiting, sometimes literally. And so the story continues. The story of trauma, of disconnection and isolation. And the can gets kicked down the road. Nearly done. Fourthly, let's talk about hard to reach. Child number 3, my adopted child, starts school, kicks off, services make immediate interventions. But no one does any meaningful work with parents. In fact, parents are gaslit. Child permanently excluded for the first time. New school. kicks off. Services make immediate intervention, but no one does any meaningful work with the parents, and the parents are gaslit. Child is permanently excluded for the second time. New school kicks off. Services make immediate intervention, but no one does any meaningful work with the parents. Parents are gaslit. Child permanently excluded for the third time. Age 12, never goes back to school. The record's not stuck. This is my child's journey, and I'm sure the journey of many of you parents and children here. I'm not sure if it's a lack of motivation on the part of the professionals that makes it hard to engage with us, or simply that they are too overworked to engage or be able to manage their workload. You sometimes meet the most stunning professionals, but more often than not, somehow the meaningful work never happens. I love meeting that person in the meeting that says, "We don't normally do this." That's the person that you want to have in your meetings. Look for that person, the person that will break the rules. The rule breakers are the people that will make the difference all the way through. Woo! So as parents, are we really to reach? I finish with these thoughts. Unless we build send villages in every area, networks of people who take this stuff seriously, nothing will change. Unless we find spaces where we can work meaningfully together to achieve best practice for our children, nothing will change. Unless we work in an atmosphere of lowerarchy and not hierarchy, nothing will change. Unless we make the financial investment in our children now, then nothing will change. In fact, our children will cost a lot more in the long run. I wish to say this to our government, sincerely, and everyone involved in developing the next stage of SEND reform. We are here. We're standing here. We are ready to engage. This is an incredibly engaged group of people. We are the people that fill the inboxes of MPs up and down the country. That's what we're told. So that's something that should be noticed, recognised and nurtured. We are not hard to reach. Please work with us. Please listen to us. Us parents are not your enemies. In fact, if truth be told, we may turn out to be your greatest asset. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie Grant. My name's Ed Reyes. I'm a SEND parent. I'm also a journalist who writes about these things. My sole purpose today is to introduce some very fine speakers to you. Just briefly, I know the sound isn't great at the back. We are working on getting a second speaker, but there is also plenty of room at the front. If you're able to come forward, please do that. Next to the stage, please give a warm welcome to Madeline Cassidy, the Chief Executive of IPSE. IPSE is a national charity that provides free legal advice and support to families of children and young people with SEND. IPSE helps countless families understand and protect their rights. They also played a huge part in making today's rally happen. Please welcome Madeline to the stage.
Hi, good morning everybody. How do you follow Carrie? That's so hard. The view I have is amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. It's amazing. What a community. So good morning. My name is Madeline Cassidy and I am Chief Executive with IPSE. Thank you so much for being here in the heart of our democracy, rising up, taking a stand and sending a very simple and powerful message. Our children's rights are not negotiable. So IPSE is a charity that has been helping parents for over 40 years to get the education their child needs through using the law. Let me be clear on our position.
The government says change is needed. IPSI agrees. Change is needed. The right change. The law must work. The system must work as it should for families of children with special education needs and disabilities. The law must be protected. The law must be strengthened. We want the law, the current law, to be applied and enforced. For too many families here today, getting education support has been a battle. It should never be that way. Our existing legal framework is strong. It is comprehensive. But the core problem is it is not being implemented properly. Under the current system, if support is not delivered, families have legal rights to challenge this. These rights are real. These rights are enforceable. But if it is this hard when you have rights, what will it be like when you don't? When the government published its plans for SEND reform earlier this year, the Prime Minister said, getting the right support should never be a battle. It should be a given. And we agree. But the real question is, will these reforms make the battle easier or harder? We all want a better, more inclusive system with early support, right? But good intentions and assurances that the reforms will work is not enough. SEND legal rights were hard won, and they matter, because without legal rights, support becomes uncertain. Without them, accountability disappears. Without them, children fall through the cracks. That's our concern today. Ladies and gentlemen, families, professionals, teachers, the problem is not that children have too many rights. The problem is our rights are being ignored. Weakening legal rights will not fix this problem. It will make it easier for children to fail. And at IPSI, we know that when the system fails, children pay the price. But we have hope. We have hope. The current law has not yet changed. We still have those rights. We must not lose them. We're calling on the government. The government is consulting. They will hear our voice. We're calling on ministers to listen to all the families here today and all the families across the country that are demonstrating today. We're calling on our MPs. We must reply to the consultation and tell government how we feel. So today, from Parliament Square, we're sending a message. Protect enforceable rights. Retain the needs-based support. Make accountability real. And lastly, save our children's rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeleine. Thank you all so much for your time, your energy, and your support so far today. We're going to take a short break. Please feel free to visit the information point for leaflets, support and advice, and make use of the sensory area behind us if needed. We'll see you back in about 10 minutes. I'm going to make it easy for you. The big clock over there is going to chime 12 in 5 minutes. So a couple of minutes after that, if you start to make your way back, and we'll hear from some more wonderful people. Thank you.
Southampton in May. Oh, Southampton's not far from me. So I went to that. Rainbow Band. Yeah. They hold all the papers. Okay. Send me the information on it if I can. Yeah. Drop me a message so I know which one to look at.
There's some more if you want to hand out more. There's some more.
I am so sorry that I don't get it.
Yeah, you're full away. We're big fans. Let's take a photo. There. Yes. How are the twins?
Yeah, very good.
Oh,
They're all right.
It's okay. Open and move, yeah. But we've also got autistic children. It's not when you the system, yeah.
I can turn it around.
Oh, you should see them.
You guys mingle over this way. Gandhi in the background.
Andy in the back. I'm Scarlett's mum. I think we had some conversation online. Thank you so much.
It's a really good question.
You just quoted me. That's so strange. That's never happened to me before.
Right. So just okay. Whatever you like. Hey everyone, we're here at the Safe Said Legal Rights National Protest in Parliament Square in London. What's your name?
My name's Yasmin, and this is Safina, who was the model for the t-shirts.
Yeah.
So, yep, we've come all the way from Manchester.
Wow.
Because it was easier to do that and come stay with my sister, so that if Safina couldn't make it today, I had somebody to look after Safina.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming. Why have you come today?
We've come because Safina's had an EHCP since we've had EHCPs. We never needed the law until the last 3 years. If we hadn't have had the law to fight our cause, Safina would still be out of education. Yeah. So you don't know how much you need it until it goes wrong. And it frightens me.
What are you most worried about with these changes?
I'm worried about the lack of legal enforceability. I'm worried about having to fit into a predefined box rather than being able to meet individual needs. I'm worried that it's going to make this relationship with school fall apart. I just see one catastrophe after another. The system we've got, it would work if people followed the law, they were accountable, and it was funded. We don't need a whole new system.
What a novel idea that would be. Can you imagine?
I know. So it's just so lovely to be here with so many like-minded people and to know we're not alone. And thank you, Rachel, for all you do.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so lovely to meet both of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lovely. Who else do we have? Who else? There's people waiting. We've got 5 minutes. Yes, I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
I'm Mia on the Facebook page. Just wanted to say thank you so much for all the resources that you put up. It's just been incredible. You're such a support for us parents.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. What's your name?
Daniel.
Lovely to meet you, Daniel. Why have you guys come down today?
I think we're here for the many parents and families who just can't be here, you know, who are just exhausted, who have children who are in mental health crisis. And, you know, we have a success story, but a lot of people haven't. So we wanted to come down and just share our voice.
Well, thank you so much for coming. We massively appreciate it. It's really, really lovely to meet both of you.
Lovely to meet you as well. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Oh my God! Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes, good. Thank you.
I follow you a
Oh,
lot.
it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. You're real short.
I am very short. Yeah, that is true.
Sorry to say that.
No, I am very short. No, that's absolutely fine.
It's great what you're doing.
Thank you. It's really lovely to meet you.
Yeah, it's lots of information, but I don't know how you keep it up to date. Because I opened my own Instagram thing for the Sunsport, and I am doing it mainly in Turkish because I'm Turkish.
Hello, welcome
and
back,
also
everyone.
People are not like accessing it
We're about
because
to
they
start our
can't
next
speak English.
set of
but
speeches.
you post lots of videos. I don't know how you keep up to date.
So,
Thank you.
please
That's
welcome
the speeches.
Michaela Silsby, spilling the tea on autism and ADHD. Michaela is passionate as an advocate raising awareness, speaking openly about the realities facing autistic and ADHD individuals and their families. We're very grateful to have you with us today. Please give Michaela a warm welcome.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name, is Michaela, and I'm hoping that some of you might already know who I am. I have shared our experiences online of the education system for a few years now, and it still shocks and scares me to see that we're having to stand up yet again to protect our children's rights. It also amazes me every single time how many of you come along, because there was a time when I started sharing my journey online. that I felt so isolated and I felt so alone, and all that was due to how my daughter was treated in the education system and by local authorities. I thought that I was the only parent with a child who had SEND needs that was struggling to attend school. And I want to make something explicitly clear. I am not standing here as a policymaker or a professional with any single title. I'm standing here as a parent, and I'm tired. I am a parent who has had to fight every single step of the way for my child to be seen, understood and supported. So when I hear about the proposed SEND reforms that aim to reduce or remove families' rights, I don't hear efficiency and I don't hear improvement. I hear the quiet dismantling of the only protections that our children have. Because let's be honest, without that, what are we left with? Just hope, trust, goodwill. We have tried all of that. Most of us didn't want to ever have to be here doing what we are doing. We have trusted systems that told us to wait and see, while our children fell further behind. We have trusted the professionals who said they'll grow out of it, while anxiety took a hold. We have trusted the schools that said we are doing our best, while our children were excluded, isolated, or simply endured rather than educated. Our rights are not a luxury. They are not an inconvenience to the system. They are our children's lifeline. And I need people to really understand what that means, because there was a point when my child reached complete crisis, where those rights were the only thing standing between her and a complete collapse. The ability to push back and to demand support, to say this isn't safe, this is not okay, and to have the right to remove her from a setting after so much harm had already been done, changed everything. And I carry this with me every single day. If those rights hadn't have been there in that moment, I genuinely do not know where we would be right now, or if she would be here at all. That is the reality families are living with. This is not theoretical, it's not policy on paper, this is not dramatic in any way, shape or form. This has everything to do with our children's lives. The right to an educational healthcare plan, the right to challenge decisions, and the right to be heard when we say, this is not working for my child. These rights exist because the system has repeatedly failed SEND children. And now we're being told those same systems could be given more control, while families are given less of a voice. This is not a reform, this is a regression. You cannot remove accountability from a system that is already struggling and expect outcomes to improve. You cannot silence families and still claim to be acting in the best interests of children, because we are the ones who see it all. We see the meltdowns after school, the exhaustion, the masking, the loss of confidence, and the slow erosion of our children who once felt safe in the world. We are not difficult and we're not demanding. We are responding to a reality that too many people still don't fully understand. SEND children do not need fewer rights, they need stronger ones. They need systems that are held accountable, not protected from scrutiny. They need support that is proactive, not reactive. They need environments that adapt to them and not the other way around. We definitely don't need a hub labelled as inclusion to shove SEND kids in when they can't cope in a classroom. And families need to remain at the centre of decision making, not pushed to the sidelines. Because when you remove our voice, you remove the one constant in that child's life. We are not the problem, we are the reason that these children still have a chance. So I'm insisting that these reforms are reconsidered. Listen to the families living this every day. Listen to the children who are often too unheard. Because if you take away their rights, You are not simplifying a system. You are stripping away protection from the most vulnerable children in society, and that is something we cannot and will not accept. So, thank you all for being here and standing up. I appreciate so many of you aren't able to actually be here. Sorry, for various reasons. I have been that child in the system, and I am now that parent. It's time for change in our education system and the culture that surrounds it. So no child is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. I'm in awe of your eloquence on this issue. One moment. Sorry, a slight change in order. Give me a moment. Where is Sarah? Okay, we have our reordered, rejigged agenda. So next to the steps, hello. Please give a very warm welcome to Sarah Fitzpatrick from the National Education Union. We also want to take a moment to sincerely thank the NEU for all their support in helping to get this rally off the ground today, and for standing alongside families, educators and young people in the fight for SEND rights. So please give Sarah, you've given her a warm welcome. It skips redundant. Sarah.
Hello everybody. Oh, this looks amazing. My name's Sarah Kilpatrick. I'm the Deputy General Secretary of the NEU, but I'm also the mother of a child who has special educational needs and is disabled. He's here with me today. I'm very, very happy to have my boy with me. This is William in the Pokemon hoodie, sitting down here. William is in year 6 now, and it wasn't until year 5 that we got his EHCP agreed, and he has been severely disabled by a brain tumour since he was 3 years old. So year 5 it took us until we got his EHCP. So now we're learning that we might not actually get to keep that. So that's great. But it's a huge honour to be here talking to you all today. I want to start by saying something simple to all of my fellow parents here. You should have never had to fight this hard. None of us should have had to become experts in tribunals. None of us should have had to become experts in acronyms, in our statutory rights, just to get our children what every child deserves, and that is an education that meets their needs. For too long, children with SEND have been failed. The system is adversarial, it is fragmented, it is starved of money. Families are exhausted, teachers and support staff are exhausted, and the children at the heart of it all are paying the price. Educators stand with you today because we see what you see. We see the child who arrives in our classroom without the support they need. We see support staff doing the work of 3 people. We see SENCOs buried under paperwork instead of being able to focus on children. And we see brilliant dedicated colleagues leaving the profession because they cannot bear to keep failing the children that they came into teaching to help. This government have at last admitted that there is a crisis. And that's welcome, but it's taken them a decade. There are some good ideas in the white paper, but ideas without funding are just words on a page. It's meaningless. The inclusive mainstream fund that they're offering would buy a primary school half a teaching assistant. That's not a plan for inclusion. So we're here today to send a clear message to ministers and a clearer one still to the Chancellor. You cannot reform this system on the cheap. If you try, you'll not fix the crisis, you'll only deepen it. Reassessment without resources is rationing. Inclusion without investment is abandonment. And our children deserve better than that. So we say this to the government: be brave, fund it properly, hire the teachers, train the specialists, bring class sizes down, and listen, really listen to the parents who have been telling you the truth for years. If the local election results this week have told us anything, it is that this is a government on numbered days. They're on borrowed time, and we all know and we all fear what comes next. If I was the Chancellor, if any of us were in positions of power, you would all do the same as me, and you would make it as near to impossible as you could to untangle the rights of our children. You would make it as hard as possible for a fascist reform government make it as hard as possible for them to do the damage that we all know they're going to do. But instead, we've had a government for the last 2 years who have sat in austerity and allowed it to continue. A government for the last 2 years who have done so little to improve funding for our schools. This is where we are today. We're out. We're talking about it. We're shouting about it. We're demanding better. And we're telling them, you're now on borrowed time. Fix it while you can, because we know nobody else is going to. To everybody here, to all of my fellow educators, to all of my fellow parents, to all of you who are here because you care so deeply about accessible, inclusive education, education that is fit for everybody. We stand alongside you in the National Education Union. We are 500,000 members strong. Your fight is our fight. Solidarity always. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Brilliant, brilliant. So next up, welcome to the stage, Rachel Filmer from Send Rights Alliance. Rachel, I haven't finished praising you yet. Hold on. Rachel's been part of the Save Our Children's Rights campaign from the very beginning. There's been a strong voice in the fight to protect, send legal rights and support families across the country. Please give her another warm welcome.
So I want to take you all back to December 2024. For months I'd had a growing feeling that Send Rights were at risk. There were enough signs from local authority lobbying and policy whispers that I submitted a parliamentary petition asking the government to commit to something very simple: to maintain the existing legal rights of children and young people with Send. it was declined because apparently there were no plans to change the law. But by then, rumours of a white paper were already circulating. I appealed, the petition was published, and within weeks we learned that EHCPs could be scrapped or heavily restricted. And suddenly it was no longer theoretical. So together with my campaign partners here, we formed Save Our Children's Rights, and we campaigned like disabled children's futures depended on it, because they absolutely do. By the time the petition passed 100,000 signatures, one thing was very clear: these changes were coming. And when the petition was debated in Parliament in September, around 90 MPs spoke, most in defence of legal rights. Some anonymously told journalists this could spark a bigger revolt than the welfare reforms. And suddenly Send was headline news. Over 132,000 of you signed the petition. It seemed clear that many would stand up for these rights if necessary, and we felt cautiously optimistic. And then the white paper arrived, and I had hoped we were all wrong, but our worst fears were confirmed. The threat to our children's rights and to their futures is unfortunately very real. Over the past year, we've all campaigned tirelessly for these legal rights. I focus my energy on trying to inform every affected family, and it breaks my heart to say I feel like I've failed in that, because too many still have no idea of what's happening. And that is not an accident. The Department for Education has shaped the narrative. We've seen glossy videos focusing on inclusion and investment, and concealing the undeniable reduction in enforceable legal rights. Children with the most visible needs have been completely erased from the narrative because it doesn't suit the narrative. And MPs tell us not to worry because EHCPs are staying and tribunals are staying. But if those systems no longer guarantee the same protections, then that is a lie. And our children deserve honesty. We need all families to understand what is at stake. We need people to respond to the consultation, and we need MPs to understand that these decisions have profound consequences for our children's futures and for our future votes. This goes way beyond Send, because if legal rights can be taken away from some of the most vulnerable children in this country, then none of our rights are safe. Yes. If you take one thing away from today, let it be this: we cannot allow ourselves to be divided. Not parents against schools or parents against each other, not one child's needs over another. Every child's needs matter. If we are divided, we will lose. They forget that we are a group who are very accustomed to informing ourselves and to fighting. Let's show them that they picked on the wrong group. And let's keep standing together until these rights are protected. Thank you. So, it's now my absolute pleasure to introduce an amazing young man using his lived experience of Send to make a difference for your children. He messaged me to say he'd started his own petition, informed by the proposals and his own experience of having an EHCP and attending a specialist school. In a few short weeks, it has already passed, I think, 12,000 signatures now. TJ is proof that the right support at the right time can change lives. Please sign his petition and give a huge welcome to TJ Chetwynd to share a poem he has written for today.
I used to sit in silence trying to understand the day, watching everything move while I didn't know what to say. Some days felt too loud, like my head couldn't rest, like I was always behind trying to pass every test. I learned how to cope in my own quiet way, holding things in even when I wanted to say, please see me, not what you expect me to do. But those words stayed locked in where no one could see. Now I started speaking and something has changed. Like the world isn't quite as far away or strange. A petition I made with just hope in my hand started growing into something I didn't plan. Numbers came in, but it's more than that view. It's people saying, we are listening to you. And I think of younger me sitting alone, not knowing one day this will feel like home. If I could go back, I'd tell him it's true that even the quietest voices can break through. So when I say this is not politics, these are lives, I stand by it for everything I do. Because this isn't just mine, it belongs to you too.
Really, really well done, CJ. I hope we can publish that poem somewhere online after the event. Next on stage, please give a very warm welcome to Marsha Martin from Black SEN Mamas. Black SEN Mamas does vital work supporting, empowering and amplifying the voices of many families navigating the SEND system. We're delighted to have Marsha with us today. Please give her a very warm welcome.
Hi guys, can you hear me properly? Okay, I know we were having some audio issues earlier, but I very much want you to hear what I have to say. So my name is Marsha Martin, and I'm the founder of Black SEN Mamas, and we are an advocacy and support group, and we basically provide mental health support to mothers of neurodivergent children. I stand here today, a mother of three beautiful girls who are all disabled. They have varying support needs, and I, like many of you, know how it feels to have to fight for the bare minimum oftentimes in terms of provisional support for our children. My eldest daughter is non-speaking, and she was abused in school by teachers, and it left her a shell of herself. She was not okay for a long time. She didn't feel safe for a long time, especially not in the schooling environment. And with the help of some of our Black SEN Mama lawyers, we were able to get the local authority to agree to an EOTAS package. Because of her legal rights, because of the fact that she had an EHCP, we got that support. This is for children who can't be in a schooling environment because it's just too damaging for them. Her needs were written into her EHCP, and that meant we had to source alternative educational provision that supported those specific needs, and that was legally enforceable because it was in her EHCP. That is what the right support looks like, and that is what happens when legal safeguards are in place and they are protected. EOTAS only exists because those rights exist. In that first year, I explained to her tutor, like, look, I don't care about academics, I care about my child's mental and emotional well-being. We focused on safety, we focused on resetting her nervous system, on helping her feel whole again. There was no demand, she led the sessions, everything was at her pace, her choice, her time, and she was able to access weekly music therapy, speech and language, occupational therapy, and a specialist tutor. And this was all written into her EHCP. And accessing provision in this way was completely visibly transformative for my daughter. During her time at school, my little girl lost her smile. She didn't smile anymore. And I remember the first time I saw her smile again after a year of education other than at school. And she gave a big hearty grin, and then a chuckle, and I didn't know that she was still capable of smiling. And I sat in the corner of that session and I sobbed. I cried because we had finally got my baby's smile back. Today she is herself again. She's herself again. She is who she was always meant to be. And every specialist that worked with her agreed that if she had been forced back into the school environment, the outcome would have been devastating. And that is why legal safeguards are important. They give our children the right support in the right place at the right time. And without them, children like my daughter, children who are really struggling with their emotional and mental health, will have to endure environments that harm them daily. And I know without those laws, my daughter would have been forced back into that schooling environment. She's now 13, so she will be protected by time and she will age out. But there are so many children who won't be. There are so many children who are just entering this system and will still be in this system when these changes come. And I have 2 younger daughters still. They are still in the system and they will inevitably be affected by the current proposals. And my youngest daughter is the happiest, bubbliest, pluckiest, most cheerful little girl you could ever hope to meet. She wakes up smiling every day. She smiles at everyone. I don't know who she got that from because it absolutely wasn't me. I've never woken up smiling. I've never once woke up happy about being awake. And I didn't imagine that I would ever have such a happy baby because during that pregnancy, I was fraught with anxiety, with depression, with stress, with burnout, with worry about the damage that this system was already doing to her 2 older sisters. That's what I was navigating during that pregnancy. And now, especially considering the proposals and what's in the white paper, now I find myself waiting. I am waiting to see how long until this system steals my youngest baby's smile just like it did her sisters. And that is why today is so important for all of us here. We are literally talking about fighting to resist the dehumanization of our children, because that is what they are doing. Ask any seasoned SEND parent what is needed to fix this system and they will give you a very detailed roadmap. A lot of us are neurodivergent as well, so we're good at that stuff. And we probably would be willing to hold the government's hand through it. In fact, we have been holding the government's hand through it. We've been shouting from the rooftops about what is needed. Emails, letters to MPs for years, inquiries, reports, consultations, national conversations, right? And our stance has always collectively been the same. We didn't ask them to change the law. We spoke to them about accountability and inclusion, not law change. Yet and still they are not hearing us. And at this point, I cannot allow them the benefit of the doubt. This is a choice. We know this is about choosing to prioritize costs over our children. I sat down with the Minister for School Standards, Georgia Gould, and that was 2 days before the release of the white paper, and I posed her a question. I said, given that the statutory system are currently still failing so much, they're still failing as far as identifying need across various identities, across gender, across race, across co-occurring disabilities, and you now plan to tighten those thresholds as to what should be considered need, how do you plan to address this gap that sees thousands of our children failed, sees thousands of our children given behavioural sanctions over much needed support? That is a massive blind spot. And how do you hope to address that without specific training? And she told me they weren't quite sure at that point. This was 2 days, genuinely, that's what she said. And this was 2 days before the white paper was released. The fact that intersectionality was only mentioned once in the white paper lets me know that this issue will not be adequately addressed with this new model. And now we are losing the right to fight against a system that chronically fails our children. Now, this is important for me to say. As the founder of Black Send Mamas, given the work that I do in the community that I serve the most, this is the only campaign, I'm talking about the soccer campaign, this is the only campaign that has welcomed me, and I've only truly felt comfortable joining this campaign because this campaign openly acknowledges that not all families experience the SEND system in the same way. Different communities face different barriers when trying to access support, and that matters. Because everyone is forced to navigate this system and they are all suffering, and marginalised communities are often disproportionately affected. So it's vital that these movements are diverse, inclusive of everyone, all the families impacted. Because when we all come together to strengthen our collective voice, our impact is so much stronger, especially in terms of policy change, and that is how real change happens. So I know I have been privileged enough to actually see when the system does things the right way. I've experienced how life-changing and powerful it can be, and we can all agree there is not one child on earth who doesn't deserve that chance. So we need to fight to save our children's rights, because we cannot keep losing our children's smiles. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha. Another amazing SEND parent who's also giving other people a voice. So, next on stage, we are honoured to welcome Olivia Gallagher, who is a young person who's going to share her experience of the SEND system and the difference that SEND legal rights have made to her life. And it's important we hear directly from young people themselves, their voices, their experiences, and their futures. That's why we're all here today. Olivia is a marketing professional and a SEND advocate. Welcome.
Thank you. So I stand here today as a marketing professional, a network marketer, a power athlete on the road to LA 2028. With my career ahead of me, building something on my own. So my journey began 25 years ago, where my parents were faced with the unknown of unanswered questions, challenges ahead, but also the whole uncertainty of what life would be like with a child with a disability. Not just one disability, but a physical, a vision, and a profound deaf impairment. They didn't just have the unanswered questions, they had to rely on their family, the professionals, and so many other people in my corner today to really see that I had the potential to be exactly where I am now. So my journey began when we were facing challenges with education, and I was placed into a school where they wouldn't support all of the three conditions, so cerebral palsy, registered severely sight impaired, and profound hearing impairment. We found that hearing impairment was the most challenging aspect of all, due to the fact that they didn't have the funding or the budget in place to give me the best chance possible. So, at the age of 13, my parents decided to send me to a deaf school. Even then, that obviously brought it some sort of challenges, but that is where my potential began to shine. I have now gone on to do GCSEs, A-levels, a bachelor's degree, and just recently graduated with a master's in marketing. So I'm now here building something of my own, changing the narrative, rewriting the rules, and showing that anything is possible with the right support and the right guidance behind you. It's clear without my parents having the support that they had from family and friends, that we would not be in the position that we are, and we would not have the opportunity that we've had for me to really develop my potential moving forward. And I am proof that with the right support and the right guidance, that your child is able to grab their potential and really shine through, no matter how challenging it is. And we really hope, not just as the Gallaghers, but as an extended family, that you can use our story as inspiration and hope for you guys going forward, because we know how much the legal rights campaign is going to definitely change lives. And without that, the campaign has definitely given us options, opportunities, but also hope in that living with a disability, you have a life and you can thrive with the right support behind you every step of the way, no matter how challenging your journey can become. It's about having that end target and having the right support and guidance, because if you don't have that, you're going to be facing hurdle after hurdle, and I think that's how we have really seen our journey go through. We've had different hurdles to overcome at all different stages. I'm now 25 years old, an independent woman, living her own life, but building something of her own. And I know, without the people in my corner, this would not be possible. This isn't just about This is not just about giving children the right to have education. It's about giving them the right to see that they have a career ahead of them post-education. And even if the support has got to be in place until they are 25, then they've got to be options and opportunities ahead. And without that support, there's no guidance. And we know firsthand that with that support, this is where I am now. Campaigns are in place to change inclusion, diversity, accessibility and growth. This is where these campaigns really show that your voices need to be heard and they need to be taken action. It's about accountability, opportunity and growth to see that you have a future ahead of you, and no matter how challenging it is, take that action, build that legacy of yours, and you guys never know what career your child may take. And do you know what, I'm going to say this now, be really bold. If this system dies, people are going to be in a limbo area where they are not going to have the opportunities and the same opportunities that I've had throughout my career so far. It's not about fairness, it's about inclusivity and about giving options. It's also about showing that even though you have a unique quirk to you, that unique ability is something that is yours. Be proud of that. Stand tall, stand loud, because without that, you would not have the opportunities that you were going to potentially have to basically come towards you. Ready to grab every opportunity, every challenge, no matter how challenging it is. You've got to face it head on and just go all in, because I can tell you what, we've learned the hard way over the years, and if it was not for the support that we had from professionals, White Lodge included, we would not be given this opportunity today and the journey that we've been on. I hope that moving forward, decisions are re-looked. They are looked at a personal aspect, and that every child is unique. No child is the same, no disability is the same, and no journey is the same. These decisions are literally about to change lives and really, in some areas, potentially destroy lives. We're not about destroying lives, we are about rewriting the rules, changing the narrative and grabbing every opportunity that comes our way. It's about taking action, seeing potential, grabbing every option and every decision, but also rewriting that decision if it is not the right decision for you. But also seeing that disability is not a barrier, and you have the potential to really be you and thrive in whatever opportunity comes your way, no matter how challenging it is. Go in head first, because taking action is where change is going to happen, and rewriting the rules is where the careers and opportunities are going to take place.
Thank you, Olivia. You're amazing. Next on stage, we welcome Habiba Ali from Asian SEN Mamas. Asian SEN Mamas provides support, community and advocacy for families navigating the SEN system, while helping to amplify the voices that are too often unheard. Please give Habiba a very warm welcome on stage.